So welcome everyone to Adventures in Randomia, an animated solo D&D adventure. This is an animated series where I use illustrations and sounds to bring to life a solo D&D adventure that I've been running. This is our first episode where the intrepid adventurers arrive in Randomia. Let's start with a bit of background about how I create and run my D&D world. I decided to keep it simple and just use one core resource set for running this adventure. This is Paul Bimler's The Solo Adventurer's Toolbox and its companion Part 2 Toolbox Expanded. In these books I found plenty of tables to help create a world and its story, navigate through it and decide what happens. I'll show you every time I use a dice roll to consult a table, and I'll also list in the side column here which tables from TSAT, the Solo Adventures Toolbox, I have used. In terms of D&D rules, I'm using 5th edition, mostly the basic content from the Player's Handbook. For the graphics, I'm using Incarnate for the maps and Midjourney AI to generate the illustrations. I hope you enjoy, and please do drop me a line with any questions, comments or tips from your own experience. From the prow of the Hesperus, Freya spots a dark shadow on the horizon. "Land," she says in a thick dwarven accent. "Look, Clarissa," she says, shaking the elbow of her distracted friend. "There's land in sight." The two of them, Freya, a bold young mountain dwarf, and Clarissa, a grey fluffy tabaxi, have been travelling for the past 2 weeks on the Hesperus from their homeland to the new realm of Randomia. They've come to seek adventures and start new lives in this unknown realm. So let's discover where in Randomia our adventurers have spotted land. So here's our world map. This was created in Incarnate using the random world generator. So let's now overlay our hex grid. So these are hexes that are 10 miles from north to south. So we have a region here that's approximately 230 miles square. So we're going to roll our dice and we get a 42. We're going to count up the hexes on the seaward side, and this brings us up to this hex here. This is where our ship is when we spot land. We roll the dice again and we discover that the season is late spring, it's evening and the terrain is Arctic. It is a clear and chilly late spring evening as the ship sails into the narrow sea strait between the two islands. So let's now discover which island do they land on. So we roll our dice again and we discover that it's the South Island. The ship steers into the bay just as the sun is setting, and our two adventurers spot a small town silhouetted in the fading sunlight. "Arr, there be Ice Hollow," says one of the ship's crew. The settlement is built around a wide bay with stone houses of varying sizes and shapes nestled closely together. Despite the season being late spring, the streets and house roofs are covered with a thick blanket of snow. The harbour is busy with ships of all sizes coming and going, from small fishing boats to large cargo vessels. The Hesperus slides into the dock, and the crew begins to unload the cargo, and the passengers disembark. Freya and Clarissa make their way down the gangplank, carrying all of their belongings on their backs. In the rapidly darkening light, they walk carefully up the icy cobbled street from which the snow has been cleared, and is piled up in small white mounds along the sides. They are hoping to stay at an inn that the ship's captain has recommended to them, called the Salty Dog. At the northern end of the town, they spot a large tavern perched right on the dockside. There's a warm, welcoming glow in the windows. "This looks like the place," says Freya. They push open the heavy wooden door and step in. Inside, the atmosphere is cosy and welcoming, with dim lighting and a fire roaring in a hearth in the corner. The furniture consists of rustic wooden tables and chairs, and the walls are adorned with seafaring memorabilia like ropes, anchors and fishing nets. The air is filled with the aroma of hearty home-cooked food. The bartender, an ex-sailor with a ponytail and a bushy beard, greets them warmly and offers them a table. The menu is simple but filling. with items like fish chowder, crusty bread, and tankards of ale. "What can I get for you, ladies?" asked the bartender. Freya orders a pint of ale for herself and a milky hot chocolate for Clarissa. They both decide to have the fish pie. As they eat their meal, they talk about their hopes and fears for their adventure in this new land. "Well, I'm pretty broke, so we need to find some missions that will pay well," says Freya. "Yes, agreed," says Clarissa. "Maybe the innkeeper can tell us where the best place is to find work." So let's discover what Freya and Clarissa's first quest is in this new land of Randomia. So we're going to, first of all, roll on the quest source table, a D100, and we get 4. So that means one of the NPCs, one of the people in this inn, in this tavern, is going to give us a quest. And then we roll again to discover what the content of this quest is going to be. And we get the keywords rusty, teacher, dripping, and dungeon. So let's go back to our adventures to find out how this is going to play out. As they chat, Clarissa starts to be aware of a set of glowing eyes, watching them from a dim corner of the room. "Freya, don't look now, but I think there's someone watching us from the corner of the room over there." Freya immediately swings round her seat to peer behind her. "No, I said don't look now. They'll know we spotted them." "So what?" says Freya. "Let's go and talk to them and see what they want." "Wait," says Clarissa, but Freya is already clumping her way across the room in her heavy boots towards the figure in the corner. Clarissa follows, clearly somewhat reluctantly. Freya pulls out a chair at the stranger's table. "Hello, my name's Freya. You have the look of someone who may be in need of a couple of young bold adventurers." Clarissa sits down next to Freya and peers over her half-moon glasses at the stranger. He has the distinctive look of a dragonborn and wears a set of purple robes lined with white fur. At some point in the past, the robes would have looked very fine, but now they are quite worn as well as a bit grubby. "Well, good evening to you, young ladies. My name is Mayeldros Lumikrin. Welcome to Ice Hollow, Jewel of the North." Clarissa squints at him and wonders if he's being ironic, given what they've seen of the town so far. Freya introduces the two of them. "I'm Freya Wildhammer of the Iron Peak clan, and this is Clarissa of St. Winifred's." "Good to meet you, ladies. So, you're looking for some adventuring work? Well, I maybe could help you out a bit there, but it could be dangerous. Are you sure you're up to it?" "Oh, yes, we're up to it all right," says Freya, "so long as it pays well." Mayeldros leans in closer, his eyes glinting with excitement. "So, there's this old castle up north, abandoned for many years. It's said to be filled with treasure, but no one's ever dared to enter. However, I have reason to believe there's something more valuable hidden inside, an ancient artifact that my own teacher left to me in his will when he passed away recently." He pauses for a moment, taking a sip of his ale before continuing. "But there's a catch. The castle is rumoured to be cursed, and the journey to get there is treacherous. We'll have to cross through the snowy wastes, brave the dangers of the wilderness, and once we get to the castle, we'll have to navigate a rusty dungeon filled with traps and monsters, all the while by being dripped on by the icy water that seeps through the walls." Clarissa scrutinises Mayeldros while she ponders for a moment. "So, let me get this right. You want us to cross the snowy wastes with you to help you find this magical item. What's in it for us, Mayeldros?" Mayeldros nods. Yes, good question, very good question. This artifact was owned by my teacher, who used to live in the castle. He was an ancient wizard who was world-renowned for his skill in teaching others the art of magic. It's possible there may be clues hidden within the castle that will lead you to other magical artifacts, or even hidden knowledge. And of course, there's bound to be plenty of treasure that has been left in this castle. So this will be a very fruitful adventure for all of us. He leans back, watching as the two women consider his offer. "So, are you up for the challenge? The reward will be great, but the risks are high. I won't hold it against you if you choose to decline." "Oh no, we're definitely up for the quest, aren't we, Clarissa?" says Freya. "Good, so we shall meet in the morning. Make sure you are ready for a trek into the snowy wilds." With that, Maeldros downs the last of his pint and heads off up the stairs to his room above. "Do you think that was wise, Freya?" says Clarissa. "We don't know anything about this Maeldros." "Oh, yes," says Freya. "Never let it be said that a wildhammer is faint-hearted. I'll tell you what, I'll go and ask the innkeeper what he knows about this castle." Freya goes to the bar to get another round of drinks and to talk to the bartender. So let's discover what the bartender knows about this castle. We're going to roll on keywords again, and we get the words impact, bother, and ruined. The bartender looks up from cleaning a mug and nods slowly. "Yeah, I do know about that castle, actually. The story goes that centuries ago there was a massive impact from a meteorite that struck the castle and destroyed much of it. The impact was so bad that it bothered the locals. They saw it as a sign of bad luck and even a curse on the castle. It is said that the spirits of those who perished in the impact still haunt the ruins to this very day." Freya thanks the bartender and returns to Clarissa carrying the drinks. "So is it true about the castle?" "Yes, seems so, according to the bartender. Cheers, Clarissa, we've hit the jackpot and we've only just arrived." Clarissa says nothing, but looks doubtful as she drinks her hot chocolate. The two adventurers finish their drinks and head off upstairs to their room. Clarissa and Freya are up early the next morning. "Are there any supplies we should get before heading out?" says Clarissa. "Well, I've got all my adventuring gear," says Freya, "but a few extra rations wouldn't hurt. Let's ask the innkeeper if he can pack us some food." Clarissa talks to the bartender and explains that they are heading up north for a few days. He nods and prepares them some food for the journey. "That should keep you going for a while. But are you sure you want to head out to the wilds? Could be dangerous out there." "Don't worry," says Freya. "We're seasoned adventurers, and after all, there will be 3 of us, so we'll be fine." The two of them have breakfast in the bar while they wait for Maeldros to come down. So we ask the question, does Maeldros join them at this time? We roll a 3. No, he doesn't. They wait for an hour and there's no sign of Maeldros. They start to become concerned about what may have happened to him. They talk to the bartender, who agrees it is odd that he has not appeared. They decide to go up to his room to find out what has happened. So we roll on some keywords to discover what's going on. We get the words slide, payment, sea, and cloying. They all head up to Maeldros' room, and there's a cloying smell in the air as they enter, and they find the room is in some disarray. They discover that Maeldros has slid from his bed to the floor. There is a note in his hand that says, "I have come to take your payment. May the sea claim you." So let's roll and find out if Maeldros is dead. We roll a 4. No, he's not. Clarissa lays her hands upon the barely breathing Maeldros and uses her healing to try to revive him. Is Clarissa able to revive him? Again we roll a 4, so no, she's not. Maeldros remains in a state of barely being alive. It's as if something has claimed his life essence without actually killing him. They look at the note in the room more closely for any further clues about what has happened to Maeldros. Clarissa rolls a 13 for perception. So let's roll on our keywords again and discover what else they can find in this room. We get the words fancy, temporary, door, and damaged. Clarissa notices the door to the guest room has been damaged. The words sea and fancy could suggest a siren. The word temporary links to the fact that Maeldros is not dead, but temporarily incapacitated. Clearly someone or something has visited Maeldros in the night. Was he supposed to make payment, but has failed to? There's a mystery about what has happened to Maeldros. Is it to do with the ancient artifacts that he wished to retrieve? Is there someone trying to catch up with Maeldros for past deeds, or trying to prevent him from claiming his inheritance? Is Maeldros' earlier story to be trusted? So many questions, so few answers. Tune in next time to discover where this story goes.